Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County. We are live from the USS Midway Museum, the iconic USS Midway Museum, the number one floating museum in the world, one of the number one attractions in San Diego, actually the number one attraction in San Diego County, joined by my colleague, of Cloudcast Media. He's the founder and CEO, Charles Parisi. What'd you think about our day on the Midway?
Drew, I have to tell you, we call Fridays as Cloudcast Media Flagship Friday. And for our listeners and our viewers on YouTube, and then when they get a chance to see some of the video, they'll see we're recording in front of an absolutely spectacular flag. So it's a whole new meaning for Flagship Friday. Gorgeous flag. We're on a ship, the amazing USS Midway, and it makes me feel really special about what we're building here at Cloudcast Media, and of course with your show.
Yeah, so we're joined by Shrezi Mukhandij. This is the first time Shrezi, who's been on my co-host on my Spotlight show before, but this is your first time on the Midway?
Yes.
What'd you think? Tell me your impressions when you first walked on the ship, and now that you've seen us do about 3 interviews.
Okay. So when I first came on, I was awestruck because it was very nostalgic. Like, I saw Top Gun. I've seen Top Gun multiple times, and I really like the movies a lot, right? And then I come on the ship, and it's so fascinating to see what I've seen on TV in real life, in person. So that was my first reaction. And then after hearing a couple of the wonderful things the Midway staff do, it's made me like this place so much more and want to come back again and actually experience all of that. For example, the sleepover. Like, I never thought you would do a sleepover on a former World War ship. So that's really, really cool to me. You know
what I love about that answer, Charles, and thank you, Shrezi. And I will guarantee you, Terry Kraft is probably going to be doing somersaults when he hears this. Here you are, a young woman, that had done something on our podcast, never been on the ship, and that's the experience. And that's exactly what they're trying to accomplish, Charles.
No, it's really incredible. And to hear some of the new youth-oriented. I think I heard about a pond being built up on the flight deck.
Unbelievable. Yes.
Yeah, the young kids can drive boats around in the little pond. I mean, it's a wonderful place for families to come and hang out and enjoy American history and appreciate the military. Every moment, whether you served or didn't serve, we should all just absolutely celebrate not only that flag, but the U.S. military.
Well, and that brings us to the next point. As some of our listeners know, we launched a military show in 2008, working with the leaders of the San Diego Military Advisory Council. It was a weekly show and live at the time with Larry Blumberg. Then I went to Randy Bogle, and of course, Mark Balmert, rest his soul, passed away way too young. And now we're going to be ginning this back up, Charles, as you well know, with Rear Admiral retired David Boone, the president and CEO of the San Diego Military Advisory Council. We're real excited about this, and thanks to your work, we're not going to mention names yet, but we're getting pretty close to having a nice sponsor land the aircraft, so to speak.
Well, there's no question there's a lot of amazing companies in San Diego and nationally that want to celebrate the U.S. military. Excuse me 1 second. And so fortunately, right, we have a couple of wonderful corporate sponsors who want to get behind mission San Diego Military with the San Diego Military Advisory Council. So we're excited. In fact, I think we can say it live here, Drew. The show will be back in the marketplace on August 7th.
Right.
And so we're going to be in studio very shortly with the first round of episodes. We're not going to announce any guests, though, because that's crazy. That's part of the whole promotional buildup of the show. But Mission San Diego Military with San Diego Military Advisory Council will be back August 7th. And Drew, who are you going to be sharing the mics with?
With David Boone. David Boone is Rear Admiral in the Navy. He is now the president and CEO of the San Diego Military Advisory Council. That has just been an unbelievable connector for what life is like from the military, how to connect it to civilian life. They have been looked at in recent years as the go-to when there's any questions about how would this work? Should we get the military involved? How should civilians play a role? And as you well know, that we love the little sound here that just is getting people on the board. There's a bosun's whistle.
It's fantastic.
This is real live Navy stuff going on. But David's great, and he's well connected. We brought up some of the key points that he'll probably share with us when we were talking to Terry Kraft, the president and CEO of the Midway Museum.
I'll tell you what I'm really excited about, Drew, is first of all, David has really rolled up his sleeves.
Yeah.
And he's all in. And some of the topics that he's identified for the season, everything from innovation, technology, artificial intelligence, transitioning into civilian life, infrastructure, incredible. I think it's going to be an unbelievable season.
Yeah, it really is. And of course, for those people that have followed our shows in the past, and we mentioned it a little bit today with Terry Kraft, we are the largest military port in the world, for that matter, with our Navy and the Marines and the Coast Guard. And the economic impact, Charles, this is something that's near and dear to your heart, being a finance guy. They create $55 billion, and that's with a B, dollars of indirect impact in our region, and about 35 billion of direct impact. Imagine in 2008 when we had the real estate meltdown in this country, but especially here in San Diego, if they didn't have that money coming from the military, where we would be.
There's no question about it. I call it a ballast, and the economy of San Diego, through the downturns, is always floated, with the U.S. military that they're here in this town. It's an unbelievable economic benefit, not always appreciated enough. Because sometimes they're so quiet, the humility in the military, but boy, oh boy, they keep the city afloat.
Well, that's what I was asking Razy, for, young folks your age. Is there appreciation of the military? And I understand if there's not, it's because they haven't been exposed to it. And now here you are on this iconic ship. So you're going to have a little bit of a different perspective probably moving forward. But how about your friends? Do they talk about the military? Do they talk about the legacy of the military in San Diego County?
So I can tell you that as a high schooler, we don't really talk much about the military. Our only interaction with it is when we learn history. And I'm going to be going into 11th grade. That's when we'll be exposed to U.S. history.
Right.
So there'll probably be more exposure and discussion next year. So far, there hasn't been. But I'm sure if we get exposed to coming to such renowned spot where there's a lot of exposure that can be given to young people, then the appreciation will grow very much, because that I can tell you from my personal experience today, being able to see it, and even with the ceremony going on today up on the flight deck, it's really cool, and online is not the same experience as in person.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, The unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
You know, and I'm sort of glad to hear what Shrazy was saying, Charles, because it's going to take, Shrazy is already a leader in, as well right now at her young age. But if she, chats with her colleagues, okay, who are going to listen to her, and because of the street cred she has with her colleagues, hey, you need to come to the museum, or you need to go to Mount Soledad, visit where Neil O'Connell, where, they have all the memorial stuff. They'll come, and that's what it's going to take. And that's why I'm so, you've done such a great job, Charles, in bringing in young folks as our co-hosts and engineers, and all they are going to be just the wonderful ambassadors for the things that we're bringing.
The youth perspective on almost everything is of incredible value, not embraced enough in my humble opinion.
Correct.
By the way, we're also on set is our associate producer. She's not on a mic right now, but associate producer of our SheEO show, Nicole Rubio, is also sitting by. So, and of course, the associate producer of the show is Brandon Joe, UCSD student. We have students working with us, literally, Drew, as you know, back in Atlanta at Georgia Tech. Started in high school with us. We have a young lady who's up at heading into her senior at Berkeley, working with us. So we embrace young folks as much as possible to help them learn how to create digital media, how to create media in all forms, build trusted media. And so I think it's great. I'll tell you, Drew, getting back to Shrazy's point, though, I think there's something that you and I should probably talk about with the educational leaders of San Diego. And it applies to both the military and life sciences. I believe that the students that are living in San Diego County should have the best life sciences education in the country, and they should have the best U.S. history and military education in the country. The two industries that really drive San Diego, military and life sciences. I think we need to figure out a way to weave more of both of those into the 500,000 students that are being educated in San Diego County. And that's where the Classroom of the Future Foundation could really do amazing things.
Well, and of course, you got Nicole and Shrazy taking the lead on some of these things here, and communicating this. And, you and I have had this conversation many, many times. It's about communication. You can't say it enough. If you say it once and you think you can come back in a year and do it, that doesn't work. You've got to be consistent with it. And then when you have, the Shrazys and the Nicoles who are going to be out there talking to their friends, their family, what'd you do today? Well, I happened to be on the USS Midway Museum, this iconic museum, the number one tourist attraction in San Diego County. That's something. And that certainly benefits, the museum, certainly us folk at Cloudcast, and of course the experiences that Nicole and Shrazy will have. And as you know, being the father of a fourth grade teacher, I'm just thrilled when those experiences are shared.
Yeah, there's no question. Hey, one of my dreams, Drew, is that we're actually going to partner with the USS Midway, and we're going to create a very special show with the USS Midway. That's my hope, and let's see what happens. Because this place deserves its own show. It's literally curriculum, education,
everything,
incredible
history,
set design, all in one location.
Well, and this is a perfect year for it. And I'm not sure if Nicole and Shrazy know this. This is I think Brandon does, and hopefully you do. It's the 250th birthday of the Marines and the Navy, and we're going to be highlighting our good friends from the National Veterans Memorial, talking about that as well. Neil O'Connell, certainly Terry will have some say in it, and David Boone, of course, of SD Mac will.
Absolutely. So in any event, I'm going to use this as an opportunity, Drew, to share with you a little something that happened off stage when we were recording earlier. So, Cloudcast Media, and you and me and our team, we're being officially invited back to do a Dare to Dream session about creating a show with the USS Midway.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So
news.
I want to tell you live on the air.
Good. That's good. We're going to mark this day down, June the 13th in 2025. Well, listen, they have done so many wonderful things in this community, the Midway Museum, and you heard Terry Kraft say it earlier, not lost on people, I hope. They've been so successful. They've been able to do these things, whether they're supporting the Classroom of the Future Foundation that you've been an integral part of, Charles, to say the least, and then Brandon certainly is now starting to do some work with them as well, which we're also grateful. This is going to be good. I hope that meeting with Terry on the Dare to Dream is sooner than later.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to be working on that as soon as we leave the ship. Hey, but speaking of military, we have an unlimited appetite to tell more military stories. So, and there's a method to my madness is why I was happy that Nicole Rubio could join us here today, because she's been doing an unbelievable job, running the SheEO show, where it's our show where we highlight powerful women in San Diego. And now we're going to be replicating the show in Atlanta and Philadelphia. So a lot of people know I'm a Law and Order junkie. Every single show, Law and Order, all the spinoffs, I watched them all, almost since day one. So Cloudcast is creating its very first spinoff of our SheEO show. So Nicole, share the mic with me. Come on over, slide your chair over here, because then I'm going to ask you a couple thoughts. So Drew knows this, of course, but we are launching our very first spinoff show called SheEO Military, where we're going to be profiling the amazing women who lead in the U.S. military. Nicole, you want to say anything? What do you think of the idea?
I honestly love this idea, and I'm very excited as the associate producer with the mayor of San Marcos. I'm very excited about the SheEO Military show.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, thank you, Nicole. So we're excited to have you, joining that show as well, because here's what's pretty cool. So Drew knows I have a lot of friends and partners who have served or still serve in the U.S. military. Little shout out to Ed Heiner, 20-year Navy SEAL in charge of basic and advanced training. Dave Varcartapone, who's part of Cloudcast Media. Gary Denham, Navy SEAL Team 6 back in Tennessee, another one of my partners. That I've heard from several of them that the best leaders they had in the military were women. And so I think it's it's high time that we start celebrating the amazing women who lead in our U.S. military. And we've had, Drew, you've heard the reaction from SD Mack and David Boone about they love the idea. They've already starting to identify women that are fantastic here in San Diego and beyond. So we're probably going to be grabbing amazing women from all over the country, although the show will be produced here in San Diego. So, hey, listen, we want to keep expanding our military programming. And if we're lucky enough, knock on this table here to create something special with the U.S. Midway. We're also, as Brandon Joe knows, we're having some wonderful conversations with the Mount Soledad Memorial Association about a campaign to activate those plaques in a multimedia format and tell oral history in podcast format with each of those plaques at the mountain. So Drew, we got some great things happening here at Cloudcast.
Yeah, it's almost like we were talking to Steve Smitty Smith. He's the one in charge of restoration of the aircraft. He's never going to run out of work to do. I mean, he loves it. You can tell by his enthusiasm. But there's 7/24, 365 work to do. And I look at the same thing what we're doing at Cloudcast Media. Every time a door opens, 5 more open. Whether it's now with the military and the SheEOs and our, certainly our podcasts with Spotlight and Future Pathways superintendents. And the beauty of it is, and you and I talked about this when we launched Cloudcast Media, the replicability of this. It's going to be replicable in Atlanta. It's going to be replicable in Boston. There's not a place in this country that we can't do this.
There's no question. And I'm gonna, I'm excited about this. I'll share this with Shrazy and Nicole and Brandon, our amazing associate producer of Spotlight in the community. By the way, I have to say, thank you so much, Mission Fed.
Yeah.
Talk about supporting us in a tremendous, tremendous way. Doug Wright, Neville, Courtney, Catalina, tremendous support for everything we're doing at Cloudcast Media. But here's what's really cool, and I want to share this with, because because Drew saw the article. So yesterday there was an article by Ted Sarandos, who you may or not know. He's the CEO of Netflix. Very powerful guy in the world of media and entertainment. Here was his interesting comment, and why I think Drew and I and our team think we're in the right place, because we started with this dream to be the national leader in local podcasting. We're going to power up local. Ted Sarandos, the CEO of Netflix, said he thinks the greatest opportunity is local stories and local media. He says that may be the greatest opportunity in the world of media. And I said, of course, I smiled from ear to ear when I read that article yesterday, because that's exactly what we all thought 6 and 7 years ago. Drew obviously has been local media for 20 some odd years, 30 some odd years. But to be able to become the national leader in local podcasting was the dream. And now podcasting has become the king and queen of all media. Scott Galloway, an NYU business professor, made a similar comment about video podcasts are the new TV shows of America. So just get with the program. And so the stars are aligning, the skies are opening up for this little thing called Cloudcast Media, and we're pretty excited.
Yeah, it'll be a great roll on this, and we want our listeners to just keep watching us, keep following us, keep liking us, and everything in between. And do want to give a shout out to Brandon Ward and you, Charles, for really ramping up the YouTube component of our Spotlight show and talk about the early successes.
Well, it's really incredible. So first of all, we are visual animals. Human beings are visual animals. And as much as I may prefer audio, the world is saying we want video. And so if you're a company that's listening to the customer, you give the customer what they want. So we're making sure we're doing that hard pivot to video on everything that we do, whether it's through shorts, long form, and it's exciting. Drew, your particular show is averaging about 1,000 new views per day. And the way content works and algorithms work, it's only going to go exponential, because the more views you get, it feeds the algorithm, which drives more views. And as you put more videos up, it drives the algorithm even more. So my anticipation is that your show, within 12 months will probably be averaging no less than 25 to 30,000 views per month. And now when you apply that across our multiple shows, horizontally, vertically different cities, Cloudcast collectively, I think, is going to be driving an awful lot of views for all of our shows, whether in full form content or short form. So listen, so we're on a mad push to video right now.
Yeah, it's all good. So, Shrazy, thanks for joining us, and Nicole, thanks. We're going to look forward to more great things from both of you moving forward. And Charles, we're on a rocket ship. I'm not ready to get off until we hit another solar system.
That's exactly right. And let's all enjoy the ride. That was one of our number one rules when we start the company, and I guess it's been my entrepreneurial ethos. Let's all have fun together. That's my number one rule. If we're not having fun, it's hard to get anything done well. And we kind of heard this week with Gary Ridge.
That's right.
If you don't have your culture right, people aren't having a good time, it's hard to do anything well. So for me, it's about having fun. That's why, we like to laugh and have crispy bacon on Flagship Fridays with Spotlight in the community.
Yeah, and we do. So thank you, everybody. And to our listeners, hope you enjoyed our remote from the USS Midway Museum. And we'll be back in studio in Scripps Ranch, Mission Fed next Friday. We hope everybody enjoys a nice weekend.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.